You have said that audience will be taken out of themselves and into Lou and Will's world, and this is actually very true because I laughed and I cried. And
Excellent.
sometimes you feel he's been selfish, then you kind of anger with him, and then you go back to feeling just such sadness for him. Was it your hope for the audience to feel a different array
That's
of
exactly
emotions?
it. I mean, you know, there's no right or wrongs in this story. All we wanted to do was to kind of put the characters in an extreme human situation and see how it felt, and maybe get the audience to ask themselves, well, what would I do? And as you say, you pass through a gamut of emotions with regards to Will. You can be angry with him, you can sympathise with him, you can be furious with him, but you can most of all be carried along and understand his thinking. And I think that's really what was key to us, is just to encourage the audience to step inside somebody else's mind and understand why they might make a seemingly incomprehensible decision.
Yeah, it was such a moving story, it really was. How much of a dream come true was it for you to see these characters come to life on screen, to see this whole story come to life?
It was amazing. And you know, you can't be cool about this because it's just such an extraordinary position to be in. And at every stage I think I've hardly dared believe that it was true. And it was only really when I was in the States last week and I was sitting in a hotel room and a trailer came up for the film with my name on the bottom, and I just went, and it suddenly hit me that this is a real thing. People are actually going to see it in cinemas, hopefully. And then it just suddenly it hit me like a ton of bricks, because up till now, for the past 2 years, it's basically been a process, you know, working on the script, working with the director, talking to the studio, then being on set, then watching the editing process. It's just been a kind of week by week thing.
So Will and Lou are actually a perfect match and the perfect people to play these characters.
They are.
Did you have anybody in particular in mind when you were creating these characters?
No, but I do now, because I tend to create characters from the inside out, and I give a rough physical type, and I knew roughly what I wanted Louisa to look like, but it was only when I saw these characters on screen that I suddenly went, okay, that's them, you know. And
like instantly, you just
Emilia walked in, and it was at the end of a very long process looking for Louisa, because I think we all knew that she was going to be the hardest part to cast. She walked in. I had no hopes for this, by the way, because I'd only known her as the Khaleesi, which I hadn't really been able to associate with Louisa Clark. But as soon as I met Emilia, you know, you realise there's a very fine line between Louisa Clark and Emilia Clark. They are very, very similar.
Character.
Yeah, there's a warmth about her and a kind of bubbliness, and I just got it straight away. I was like, there she is. She just stepped out of my head, and there she is.
She's a beautiful, gorgeous actress as well.
She is.
So you've won Romantic Novelist of the Year award twice.
I have.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What other novel of yours would you like to see on the big screen?
Well, I have adapted 1+1, which is with Warner Brothers, New Line. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we can move forward with that. You know, it's always an amazing process that anything gets made at all. So you just have to keep your fingers crossed. Hoping. But it turns out I love writing screenplays. I love adapting my own work. So I hope to keep doing it.
Yeah. And final question, were there any parts of the story that were based on real life?
Well, the whole story was inspired by real life. Well, in two respects. One is that I had relatives who required 24-hour care, so a lot of those issues were very high in my family's mind at the time that I was writing the book. But I heard a story on the news about a character who was very similar to William Traynor, and it was really hearing that story and being so shocked by it, and not really being able to understand that decision-making process that led me to try and imagine myself into the shoes of someone who took such an extreme decision. And you know, it's a story about humans, and it's a story that has no rights and wrongs. And I'm, you know,
I saw it on Friday morning, cried my eyes out before work. So listen, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.